time you felt? If you're someone who just really can't remember when the last time you felt great, it's a sign, right? Your body is telling you something. It's either telling you to slow down, it's telling you to pay attention. By the time we start to even see signs or symptoms, know at that point that that's when that red flag is really going strong. So I say anywhere around that 3 month mark, if you can't remember feeling great January, December, February, I would say it's time to really kind of do a little bit more digging and figure out what it is that's amiss and where can you further support. So let's talk about metabolism, because metabolism often gets thrown around, and I often hear it only when people are talking about weight and weight loss. And so, again, one of the main things that we see here at IW is people wanting to lose weight, and it'll be like, oh my gosh, my metabolism is sluggish, my metabolism isn't working, my metabolism is slow. How can I boost my metabolism? X, Y, Z. But really and truly, metabolism is so much more than just weight and a number on the scale. So, metabolism, it is the speed, it's the rate, it is how fast or how slow your cells are functioning. And so your cells, the billions of cells that we have in our body, they are always working. And even if you might feel like, man, my body's just not going the way that I want it to, know that your body is still doing something. That's your metabolism. Okay. So next time you're in a conversation, you're doing trivia or what have you, and someone's like, what's metabolism? You're gonna be like, oh my gosh, I remember. Okay, so there you go, trivia points. Okay, so we now know at the end of today, metabolism, it's the speed at which your cells function. If your metabolism is really, really, really fast, then you might notice things speeding up. You might notice weight could be challenging. You might notice building muscle is challenging. You might notice changes to sexual function. You might notice changes with menstrual fertility. Okay, that's too quick. If your metabolism is slow, yes, you might have some weight challenges and you might pack on the weight a bit more, but everything slows down. And I find that more so, more people, many of us, have slower metabolisms. Has nothing to do with age. Because again, I have patients well into their 70s, thriving, working out multiple times a week. Okay. So as your metabolism slows down, these are just a few examples of the things that you can experience: insomnia, joint pain, GI issues, low libido, brain fog, hair thinning, anxiety, insulin resistance, fibromyalgia, weight gain, erectile dysfunction, muscle wasting, acne, autoimmune conditions, right? I could list an entire page of autoimmune conditions: lupus, Sjogren's, scleroderma, rheumatoid arthritis, hot flashes. And here's something interesting: people think that hot flashes are exclusively for women. Breaking news, they are not. Men can experience hot flashes. I actually have a new patient started working with, and he gets terrible hot flashes. Literally in office, he had a hot flash. Okay. So hot flashes are very real, and it's not gender specific. Kidney stones can occur. How many times do we hear about kidney stones or gout, right? High blood pressure, high cholesterol. The list goes on and on and on. These are all signs that things and processes are slowing down in your body and we're getting sluggish. Okay. So just a few examples. Like I said, it will look different. Slow metabolism does not mean you're going to have every single thing, but you might have one or two. One or two, in my opinion, is too many. One or two too many. Okay. Any questions with metabolism that we have so far? And I do speak quickly because I get excited. So please let me know, and I will always slow down for you. All right. So when you start to experience any of those signs or symptoms, think of it as your body's check engine light. Your body is saying, hey, slow down, friend. We need to check something out. Slow down. Something is not 100% right. But what happens is many of us actually ignore that check engine light and we keep pushing through, and we ignore it. Things get worse, and then heaven forbid something critical happens, right? I find that in North America as a whole, we are very big on reactive medicine. So we will react when things are really bad. We will react when we are now on dialysis for kidney failure. We react after having 4 stents put in because of a heart attack. That's when we want to, not always, because I've seen it, that's when we want to start making the changes, right? When you've had your leg amputated because of blood sugar and diabetes, that's when. But by then, at that point, it's a little bit, I don't want to say it's too far gone, but at that point, it's a bit more tricky. Okay. So when that check engine light comes on, you need to start acting and trying to act sooner rather than later. Okay. Awesome sauce. Okay. So think of metabolism, when it starts to slow down, is your body is demanding a lot from you, but you don't have enough micronutrients. And micronutrients are going to be one of the stars of today's conversation. So your body is demanding things from you. Lots of us wear many hats, right? We are friends, we are parents, we're guardians, we're caregivers, we are teachers, professors, we travel, like we do a lot in a day to day, right? So your body has a lot of demands. Many of us are going 12, 13, 14, 15-hour days, and then doing more on top of that. And so those micronutrients aren't as robust or in as demand or as enough levels as we need them to be. All right. I do a lot of visuals because sometimes that helps. If it doesn't, let me know. All right. So let's talk about micronutrients, the star for today. So micronutrients, these are your vitamins and minerals. And it's important to know that your body actually doesn't need a lot. But by the time that check engine light comes on, we probably are going to need more than the average Joe. So whether your micronutrient levels are deficient or insufficient will cause that metabolism to slow down. Remember, team, right? Metabolism is when cellular processes slow down, not just the weight, but insomnia, fatigue, joint pain, poor recovery, etc. So at that point, we don't have enough nutrients to support our day to day. Regardless of where you are in your life, regardless of what stage, whether it's menopause, andropause, premenopause, whatever you are, geriatrics, wherever you are in your life, nutrients are going to be important. Now, obviously, depending on, maybe a gender or age or even ethnic backgrounds, we start to see differences. You will need nutrients. So I don't want anyone thinking, oh, I don't need this nutrient because I'm always in the sun. Okay, that's great. I've lived in Arizona for 4 years. And even in Arizona, I saw some of the lowest vitamin D levels that I've ever seen in my years of practice. So nutrients are important. They matter for anybody who wants to have a better metabolism. If you want to lose weight, if you want more energy, less brain fog, if you just want more vitality, longevity, wellness, your nutrients, micronutrients specifically, matter. And let's not get micronutrients confused with macros, right? Because we talk a lot about macros all over social media. That's your protein, carbs, and fats. Those are great. Those are cute. Those are awesome. But they don't mean anything if you don't have micronutrients. Okay. All right. So just a couple of examples of some micronutrients that I often see imbalance, out of balance or out of flux or out of harmony with folks in our practice. So iron. Iron is all about delivering oxygen to the body. If you don't have enough oxygen, right? Think about it, team. We're all brilliant people on this call. If you don't have enough oxygen, you're not going to be able to have enough energy. That's number one. Oxygen is how your cells get nourished. Number two, brain fog. So again, if we don't have enough iron, we will have a reduced circulation within your brain. That's going to lead to less efficient processing. So now you can't remember what somebody told you 2 minutes ago. Or now you're going to walk into the kitchen and you're going to be like, oh my goodness, what in the world is that? So nutrients matter. Okay. Shortness of breath. People don't often make the correlation, but low iron levels or insufficient, and I have to use that insufficient a lot because standard lab ranges just look at everybody as a whole. But shortness of breath can happen, again, if you don't have enough oxygen being delivered. Poor circulation. So maybe you're cold all the time. So if you're someone who's like, fingers are always cold, or your toes are always cold, or you're like me and have a heater on 24/7, 365, right? Low iron. I already know that. I'm working on it, team. Okay. Reduced wound healing is something that's also really important. If you're someone who's like, I don't know why I had this cut and it's taking so long to heal, it could be low iron. So what happens is your body's very brilliant. Okay. We have beautiful, amazing bodies. Your body is a genius. It is going to supply nutrients to the areas that absolutely need it, like your heart, your lungs, somewhat of your GI. Everything else is going to kind of get like mishmashed a little bit there. B vitamins are important. We'll talk a lot about B vitamins in detail tomorrow, but B vitamins help to take that food, those macros, protein, fats, and carbs, and convert them into energy. So again, weight loss is often something that people come to our practice for, but energy probably is going to be right at the top across my men, my women, and my pediatric patients. She just doesn't have enough energy, Dr. D. She's always sleeping. My daughter's always sleeping. I don't know what's wrong. Energy. If we can't take and extract our nutrients from our food to make energy, then you're going to have low energy. You're going to have poor adrenal function, low melatonin. Megan talked about tryptophan production on Monday, I believe it was, right? B vitamins help to drive those processes. B vitamins help to take your protein, make it to energy. B vitamins help to take tryptophan into melatonin. B vitamins help with making serotonin, right? Serotonin, we always talk about that feel good, happy neurotransmitter. We have several categories of pharmaceutical medications like Wellbutrin and Celexa and Zoloft and Prozac that are all geared towards stimulating serotonin. But what would it look like if we ensured that we had optimal B levels to help ensure this production? Okay. If you don't have enough B vitamins, you can start to accumulate toxins in your body. So then you end up with having poor detoxification status. Why does this matter? As toxins accumulate, they can accumulate in fat tissue, in joints. They can accumulate in your gut. They can cause dysbiosis. Again, that's that renew part that Megan spoke about Monday and Tuesday. Okay. And then another big one, right? Magnesium. We all talk about it. We know it. We like it. We love her. Magnesium. She's pretty badass. Magnesium is a major cofactor for all enzymatic processes. So I'm going to geek out really quickly. Anytime there is a reaction that happens in your body, there's an enzyme. So think of anything that ends in an A's. So lipase, dehydrogenase. So any of those A's, they require magnesium. So again, if you want to lose weight, if you want to have, if you're going through fertility, if you're going through menopause, if you want healthy aging, if you want collagen, because you don't want wrinkles, right? You need to have some magnesium in your body. Restless leg. They've done great studies with restless leg syndrome. That's also really important. Okay. I will 100% get to that question. Sleep disturbances, right? So these are just some examples of micronutrients. Again, you don't need a lot of them, but you need them. We all need them. Okay. How do we know? Ooh, Marla. Yeah, great question. We'll talk about magnesium. Marla, I'm going to get back to that. I promise you. We'll talk about magnesium in a second. Yeah. So let's talk about how in the world, Khadijah, because I said earlier, we don't need a lot of these micronutrients, but we need them. And how do they even become depleted? So this is just a general list of how these nutrients become depleted in your body. Lack of sleep. And I'm going to sit here and I'm going to be very honest because we're friends and I'm all about this IW family that we're building. I have been horrible at sleep probably since February. I'm going to get better. Last night I got 7 hours. So that's great. Okay. But I'm very well aware lack of sleep does not allow your body to recover from the day. When you wake up with getting less than 5 hours, you already wake up starting your day with having more inflammation because we haven't been able to reset. You now wake up with disrupted and dysregulated cortisol, which will then throw off your melatonin. Okay. So huge. So lack of sleep is going to be key. Inflammation is another big one. Okay, again, Megan touched on inflammation yesterday. Inflammation will deplete your nutrients. Exposure to toxins. And again, I hear this all the time. Dr. D, I don't use toxins in my home. Dr. D, I don't do all these things. Okay, we break it down. And guess what? If you exist in this world, you're exposed to toxins. I hate to break it to you, but that's just what it is. But there are things that we can do to help support our body so that we're not having these toxins accumulate and rob even more of our nutrients. Because remember, B vitamins help with detoxing. Okay. So xylene, styrene, benzene, BPA, perchlorate, receipt paper. Oh my gosh, receipt paper. What are they doing to us in this world, right? Microwaves, even your food will deplete nutrients. Okay. So we'll talk again. We're going to go down the rabbit hole tomorrow with that. Dysbiosis and poor gut health. Again, Monday, Tuesday, that was all what we drill. I didn't say drill, but Megan really reinforced how important gut is because that can deplete nutrients. Poor diet choices. I am all for having a good meal. I'm all for having some pizza every once in a while, right? But when we are making poor diet choices, and I say poor diet choices for our body, because I believe that no two bodies are alike, that will rob your body of nutrients. How is that? Because if you're eating the wrong things, now your body has to spend more time breaking it down. We're going to just fly through magnesium and B vitamins. Inactivity. You don't need to be running marathons. You don't need to be doing CrossFit every single day, but you need to move your body, right? The American Heart Association recommends 150 minutes of activity a week, which breaks down to 30-minute workouts 5 times. If you want to do more, we love that for you. But being inactive is definitely depleting nutrients. Dehydration, I know these are simple things that we often overlook. Stress, 100% will rob your B vitamins, your magnesium, your CoQ10, right? We talk about things for anti-aging. your glutathione, and then genetics. And I put genetics with an asterisk because there are certain genetic mutations that can cause nutrients to either be malabsorbed, not activated, etc. But that's a very, very tiny percent of the population. Look at all these other things that you can be doing to really ensure that your nutrient levels stay optimal, right? Getting sleep, managing inflammation, reducing toxin exposures. Okay. All right, so we've talked about metabolism, we talked about micronutrients. Let's talk about how we can start repairing our metabolism so now our cells work in our favor, right? And once your cells start to work in your favor, you can start to get those health goals and achieve those health goals that you're wanting out of your life. So it's a stepwise approach. This is supposed to play. Is it playing? Maybe not. There we go. Ooh la la, look at me. Okay, so it is a stepwise approach. People often think, oh my gosh, Dr. D, I just want to like lose all the weight and they want to get to like this top point, but they haven't even nailed down eating or moving their body or even drinking water. So it's going to be a stepwise approach. I hate to break it to you. Many of us are in a chronic state of being completely depleted, hence why we have to replenish, right? We have to nourish our nutrients back up to a healthy level. And we can't get to this point unless we start down here. And that's the basics, the foundations. It's boring, I know, but trust me, it works. I've shared my story several times with people. But when I started 17, 15, 16 years ago, working on my health and my wellness and wanting more for myself so that I could be a better niece, be a better auntie for my niece, I didn't have access to the resources I have now. You know, Whole Foods had just come to Canada. Right. So, like, we didn't have those types of things. And gluten-free food still tasted like dirt, did not taste the way that it tastes now. Okay. But you start with the foundations, you work with what you have. So, what does sleep look like for you? Again, I use myself as an example. I'm never going to recommend or tell people things if I'm not doing them in my own life. So, establishing a good, solid sleep routine. So, are you on your screen before bedtime? Do you have blue light blockers? Do you change the screen settings? Are you eating close to bedtime? I usually give people like a 2 to 3 hour window, right? Like, what does that sleep routine look like? Are you going to bed in a frantic? Are you thinking about the next day and everything coming up? So, what's that sleep routine look like? Reflect on your diet, and this is huge, right? Do you eat for your health goals, or are you just eating because you're just eating? And if you're confused with that, we've got you, right? Where do you source your food from? That's going to be another big key. Do you read ingredient labels? I don't care where you buy your food from. I don't care if it's Whole Paycheck, Trader Joe's, Giant, ShopRite, Acme, Aldi, Walmart, Target. I don't care where you get your food from, but you need to read your labels. Whole Foods has junky food. Breaking news. Trader Joe's has junky food. They do. They sell corn syrup. Okay. Not everything is organic. So you have to read your labels. You can't just be like, oh, I'm buying it at Whole Foods, so it's going to be healthy for me. You need to read your labels. I can't say that one enough. I have fallen into the trap of, oh my gosh, look it's in the health food aisle. So that means it's going to be healthy for me. And then I'd get home and they've like swapped it. They've taken out the high fructose corn syrup, but then they've put like 7 other different sugars in there. Hello, diabetes. Thank you very much. Okay. So read the labels. Hopefully you're doing that already. And then food storage, right? Like, how are you storing your food? If you go out and, most places will put your food in like styrofoam, are you going to heat that back up in the microwave? Do you keep your food in styrofoam? These little things we don't think of. But again, these are things that will help with replenishing those depleted micronutrient stores. Okay. And then fiber is going to be key. Are you getting enough fiber? I think most Americans average anywhere from 10 to 12 grams. We should be getting anywhere from 30 to 35 grams of fiber a day. Food is going to be a great place, not a fiber gummy, not Metamucil. Okay. I say this with love, but like, let's get back to really taking a look at what we are eating. I could talk all day about food. I could talk all week about food because food is probably one of the most confusing things that many of my clients have or struggle with when they come to work with us. But it's also such a powerful tool. Again, I'm going to use me as an example. 16 years ago, I was eating an entire birthday cake 3, 4, 5 times a week. That is not ideal. That's not helping me hit my goals. That's also not supporting. And if anything, it's only using up more of my magnesium, more of my chromium to sensitize my insulin levels. Okay. So I'm not going to ever knock you and say you can't eat cake, but is that eating it daily for your health goals? Probably not. Okay. Cleaning up your home environment. Again, they've done studies on this. your home environment could be probably the most toxic place that you exist. And think about how often you are at home. After COVID, many of us transitioned to work from home. So now we are in our homes more than ever, right? If you are using tons of fragrance and scented products, breaking news, fragrance on any ingredient label means that this is what they did. They went and took a product and they said, I'm going to use some of this chemical. I'm going to throw some of this in there. They do not have to disclose what those chemicals are. And now you're at home just, spraying your home with Pine Sol and Fabuloso and bleach and all the things. You're inhaling it, and now you're eliciting an inflammatory reaction in your body. Okay. And I know we don't often think about that, but that's why I'm here. That's why Megan's here. We think about how those products and how your home environment could be influencing your health. The more toxins you're exposed to, the more you're going to use up your glutathione, the more you're going to use up your N-acetylcysteine, the more you're going to use up your magnesium, your vitamin C, your B12. Okay. And if your body is so busy functioning and worrying about getting rid of these toxins, then you can't worry about having energy, and you definitely can't worry about getting your waist snatched and losing weight. Okay. Environmental Working Group is one of my favorite resources. They have great apps. They're a nonprofit 501(c) company, and they are all about reviewing what is on the shelves in stores. Okay. And on one more caveat before I get off my soapbox, just because one company makes a product that's really good does not mean their entire line. Here's a good example, Mrs. Meyer's. I believe that's their name. Mrs. Meyer's dish soap. Everyone's like, I use Mrs. Meyer's for everything. If you go on Environmental Working Group, Mrs. Meyer's has some products that have a score of F for failure and A. Lysol, which people would be like, Lysol is bad for you. Lysol has products that have a grade A and some that are F. So do your due diligence, okay? Hydration, another foundation. Half your body weight in ounces. When you're working out, 8 ounces for every 15 minutes of activity. Use an electrolyte if you're not hitting your daily water goals as of yet. Electrolytes help with replenishing nutrients, and I'm going to keep saying that word, replenishing nutrients, and helping to restore some mineral imbalances that are present. We are losing fluid and we lose minerals through urine, through feces, through sweat when we sleep. Okay. Body movement, right, helps with lymphatic flow. So your lymphatic system is how we help to remove toxins, one of the ways, and then practicing stress management. So I've already given you 1, 2, 3, let's go back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things that you can start doing today, tomorrow, this week, this weekend, over the next couple of weeks to really start seeing the improvements. And you're probably thinking, Dr. D, those are boring. That's not going to do anything. I promise you they're going to make the changes. Just cleaning up the diet and drinking water, I've seen significant changes with patients. Okay. All right. Now, once you've got the foundations down, you can level up. So what does that look like? Now you can add the supplements. So supplements will be very individualized. One of our favorites, and we did talk about this one in the free kind of challenge and emails that were sent out, is Detox Antiox. And so Detox Antiox, the reason why this could be beneficial is because there's some really key nutrients, vitamin C. Vitamin C, your body uses so quickly. And people will be like, I take vitamin C every day. By the time you've ingested it, if you take vitamin C by 8 a.m., at 8 a.m., by like 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, your body has used it all up, because it is, again, many of us are walking around in a nutrient deficiency state. So we use it up quickly. Okay. But vitamin C is in here. Biotin, which is B7, zinc, which is super, super key. Zinc helps with processing testosterone. There are great studies. And I think about this because lately we've been seeing more men in practice. And so I think of testosterone and prostate. There has to be a healthy zinc to copper ratio to ensure that there's no prostate enlargement. Okay. Because again, we've been seeing more men in practice, which is awesome. Zinc for women, I think of the opposite. Zinc helps with progesterone, healthy uterine lining. Zinc for everybody, including the family, is going to help with immunity. Okay. Selenium, manganese. Okay. Lots of key nutrients in here that help with detoxing. And the more that you can detox and remove toxins will then help to alleviate that nutritional, that micronutrient imbalance that's happening. When you have high levels of toxins, even mediocre levels of toxins, things will start to slow down. So again, we're wanting to repair your metabolism. Let's take a look and make sure that that one area of your body, AKA your liver, has enough so that we don't have to tap into other areas. Okay. After foundations, we talked about supplements. You can do botanical medicine. I love, 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 love herbs. So botanical medicine, I think of herbs that are going to be lymphagogues, They're going to get things moving. So lymph tissue, like I said earlier, is going to be just as effective as working out. Lymph helps to remove toxins. Then we have things that will help to support your liver, like burdock and artichoke. Licorice is really great as well. Homeopathy is another great thing that you can help with metabolism. Homeopathy is going to be very individualized. Acupuncture, acupressure. Okay. And I'll show you a couple of acupressure points that you can do that are going to be great for like stress. And then lab testing. Again, we often underestimate getting yearly blood work, functional testing. So yearly blood work, this is just a screenshot of a patient that I have. I like to highlight people's labs. So green is good, yellow. So you'll notice that even though this person's labs are in ranges, I will still I will say, hey, yes or no, this is not good. So A1C under 5, even though they say under 5.7 is good. TSH, that's a huge one. That's going to be influenced by selenium and iodine and zinc and magnesium. So 2.46, she's trending on the high end, right? So that could be an issue. Then we have iron. That's another key mineral as well. So although this person's iron levels said that they were okay, I still flagged it in red. Okay, so get your yearly blood work done. Let's not underestimate those things. And then after you've gotten yearly blood work done, you can take a look at functional lab testing. So I think on Monday, Megan gave a snapshot of an organic acid test. So I like organic acid testing because we can take a look and see which B vitamins this person needs more of. So B6, some biotin, okay? We can take a look, B1, B2, B3, B5 are just deficient. So then we can properly assess versus just saying, hey, take this, right? So key things. So that's an example of using your yearly blood work to assess micronutrients. And then you can also add on things like functional lab testing too. So the whole idea of today was to really understand that many of us are walking around deficient. We need to replenish those reserves. Those micronutrients are going to be what really drives those cellular processes. If you want more energy, if you want to feel good more days than not, if you want that metabolism to be revved up, you're going to need to ensure that you have the right amount of micronutrients. We don't need a lot of them, but we still need them. Micronutrients help in all areas of our life. Okay. You have to make sure the foundational pieces are there. So, are you sleeping every single night? Are you drinking your water every day? What's the diet look like? I can't harp enough on diet, but diet is going to be really, really, really key. So what does the diet piece look like? And then once you've gotten the foundational stuff done, and one thing that I forgot to mention is, what are the bowel movements and bowel habits like? Because again, micronutrients can influence the rate and how well you have those daily regular bowel movements. Once the foundation pieces are there, you can add on the labs, right? And when I say labs, I encourage people to get their yearly blood work done with their primary care, but I also encourage people to be very, very, very much involved in reviewing their labs. Recently, I forget what the study that was done that said on average, doctors, MDs spend 7 minutes with their patients. That is not enough time to assess and ensure that you are in optimal health. And they do that simply because the insurance model, again, I'm not going to get into this rant, but 7 minutes is not fair to you. It's not. So when you get your yearly blood work, okay, and let's see, when you get your yearly blood work, I always encourage people to do this. When you get your yearly blood work done, you're going to take a look at every line item and you're going to see, am I borderline on anything? Am I close to the top? Am I a little bit low? You're going to take a look and you'll go through. And if there are any labs or line items where you're like, I think that area needs some more tweak, you're going to start to take action, right? We need to be active and proactive when it comes to our health. So once the labs are done, the foundational pieces, I encourage people to get functional lab assessments. What's that mean? So MDs, they're just going to make sure that nothing shows up because of the computer generating it as being high or low. When you work with someone in the functional integrative space, what we want to do is make sure that your lab ranges are optimal. And how do we do that? Well, we say, hey, first of all, how old is this patient we're working with? Male or female, where are they in their life cycle? And then one thing that I always take into consideration are ethnic variances. There have been studies that show that A1C is a great example. So Hemoglobin A1C, anyone from Southeast Asia, anyone that is from the African diaspora, has to have lower hemoglobin insulin A1C levels. You can develop diabetes even being really thin. So any of my Asian population that I work with, whenever we're getting their A1C done, if I see it at 5.3, I'm like, no, we got to work on this. We got to bring it down. 5.1, we got to bring it down, because I know that due to genetic variances and ethnic differences, that population can develop diabetes even within quote unquote regular lab ranges. So that is what that functional lab assessment looks like. It's not just what did the computer say is high or low. We take into consideration where you are, who you are, what's your age, what's your gender, ethnic variation, etc. So interpretation is going to be key, which is why I highlight it. And then obviously, coming up with a plan that is for you. Tomorrow, we're going to start helping you to create and develop a plan. Okay. So I put question, but any questions? And I know I saw one. So I'm going to stop this. We'll stop the recording, but let's talk about the magnesium component. So let's stop the share. And then I'm going to hit stop record. So magnesium, let me not multitask. Stop. There we go.